Showtime.
It's about that time.
Let's go.
You're right where you need to be. This is GCOM Radio.
Hardest radio station on the planet. Yeah.
Powered by Lyfeblood.com.
We certified.
And hosted by Nova Phoenix.
Give them that flavor.
What are we doing right now? What is the deal? Yo, we are here. Guess what today is? Guess what this show is, y'all? This is the 100th show of GCOM Radio. I'm your host, Nova Phoenix, right here on GCOM Radio. Say it with me, y'all. iHeartRadio. And we're going to give some music. We're going to give some talks. We're gonna just enjoy it. No, I don't have nothing special planned for today. Because, you know, it is what it is, man. You get caught up in life. You're getting caught up in all these things. But we are here nonetheless. And I want you guys to celebrate with me the 100th show of GCOM Radio. Let's hear it on, man. Let's bring it up. All right. Yeah, come on now. Come on, y'all. Come on. Let me hear it. Let me hear it. Let me hear the crowd. Oh, man. What? One more time. One more again. Yo, come on. Wait a second. Let me hear some more. Yes, we are here, man. I'm so happy. You don't understand. I don't care in what way that this show is done. It's the 100th show. We are here for just celebrating. We just celebrating the consistency, the hard work, the timeless. Oh my God, I don't even know. Not even time. The effort put into this show every week. 98% of course, I miss some days, but it's all good because life happens. But 98% of this time it was given to giving you guys some content week after week after week after week. And I did promise, I got to tell you, for the 100th show, many moons ago, if you want to say that my kid was going to get on air and just say congratulations and just say hooray and all those things. And we are right here, and this child is right next to me, and she's going to give her words and how she feels about today. Come on, kid. Come on. How you feel? Go ahead and say she's getting shot at the mic is on. Come on now. Talk to the people, man. Tell her, congratulations, Daddy, for your 100th show.
Congratulations! I'm happy that you made it to your 100th show. I think I remember some of it from the 50th show.
Yes, okay.
And that's it.
Tell them what you go. Hey, wait, you gonna run? She ran away. I'm here trying to talk to her, and she runs away. She was like, okay. She was so hyped to do this. I tell y'all, she was so hyped to do this. She was like, Daddy, when your 100th show come, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. Now that the mic is on the 100th show, she says this little piece, and she. Yo, she runs away. Come on now. Look, give it up for my daughter, man. She did her thing. Come on. All right. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, you coming? Oh, my God. Okay. I don't think you have a say in this.
And your wife says, hooray and congratulations!
Yeah, that's my actual wife. Yeah, the one I talk about every now and then, that's her voice. Yes, she's talking on the mic from far away, saying some congrats. So I thank you, and I thank. Come on, let me hear some cheer from the crowd. Let me hear some more of that cheering that I. Come on now. Yo, even the cat's into it. He's jumping all over the place. I tell you, boy. Come on, I hear the crowd now. Let me hear some more. All right, I hear it. Yes. Yo, let me tell you, man, It's been such an enjoyable time really to record this. Everybody knows that they're close to me knows I had a cable access show many years ago. That was on in Brooklyn, Manhattan. I moved on to other things, filmography, and then I kind of stepped back from it because it was almost like, when you on the road at the time, the technology was moving over where people had iPhones and all those things, and people were recording, and the equipment was getting cheaper, and it came to a point where it was like, you know what? People were like, why should I pay this person a couple $1,000s when I get my cousin to do it? So it just got to the point where it was like, you know what, let me just take a step back. And then I got into a project, because I flirted with the music business a little bit. And I got into a project where it was a documentary, but I also wanted music to go with it. And I was dealing with a label at the time. And the person I was working with wanted to just do a documentary. So we had difference of opinion, and it didn't work out the way I wanted to work out. I mean, the deal was like, it was right there. It was right there. Even though there was some politics and BS going on, I knew in some way, shape, or form it could have came off. But it is what it is, and that kind of soured me, and I stepped back. So many years later, I got the bite again. The bug bit me, and I was like, you know what? Let me see how I can get back into the swing of things. And Lyfeblood, as everybody knows, Lyfeblood didn't start out the way it is presented today. It was almost like what do you call it, like a World Star type of deal, and it was a different look, and I wanted to do something a little, because I was kind of like, all right, I understand World Star, but I wanted something a little bit more intelligent. World Star was just going for, in my opinion, lowest common denominator. So it is what it is. But I did that, and then I shifted again, because I realized that it wasn't just about providing content, it was also giving people the ability to try to empower themselves financially. And it was an idea that was swirling around in my head for so many years. And finally, I took it to the point where I rebranded the company and changed its look. So, yeah, man. And it's Lyfeblood up until this time. And about 2 years ago, when I was, I was on the ground running, looking for investors and doing all those things. I mean, I was emailing Tom, Dick, and Harry. I was all, full of fire. So then I was like, all right, so nothing was coming of that. And I said, you know what? It would be great to do a podcast. People always said I should do radio. Some people was like, man, you should have did radio years ago. I was like, because at the time when I was younger, I was an MC. So I didn't really put all my heart into it. So then, reading online, it says it's great to do a podcast. And I'm like, all right, why not? Why not do a podcast? I did cable access when I was in my 20s, and just to do this medium, I think it would be great. And I got into it. And I used to be called WPRD, GCOM Radio, and that's my cat, by the way. And I kind of wanted to fashion it kind of like an actual radio station, but I'm like, all of a sudden my cat wants to be vocal. Look at that. I want to kind of fashion it like radio, because I was like, hey, let me play music that people want to hear. Then I can also talk about things that's related to Lyfeblood.com. So I had this shtick to kind of make it like, that's where WPRD came from. But then when eventually, as I moved on and I did shows, people said, maybe, you don't want to confuse it with an actual radio station on the FM dial. Why don't you just drop WPRD? And I was like, all right, fine, let me just drop that. And it was just GCOM Radio. And what does GCOM Radio stand for? Yes, it stands for Global Community Radio. So Lyfeblood was always there as a part of the logo for GCOM, and it was supposed to represent, as far as the podcast, the mouthpiece for Lyfeblood. So it was Lyfeblood's global community. So GCOM Radio shortened it, made it nice and sweet, and just did what we did. And of course, I started out the show with my homegirl, my good friend I'm still connected with, Latasha L.K. Mason. And she was like, yo, why not, let's do this together. And we did that for a while. We did a couple shows doing our thing. And then finally, she was like, all right, I want to concentrate on my book. and she does it with Zayna the Brave, and then she went her way. So I'm like, what should I do now? F it, I'll just do this solo thing. And it's been, I'm telling you, so much fun. I just like working. I just like working in the medium and staying busy and talking about things that I would talk about my friends with, and anything related to Lyfeblood.com as far as what the mission statement is for the company and everything else under the sun. So yeah, I enjoy it. I really do enjoy doing the podcast, man. It's just me. And maybe I should have listened to people back in the day, and I should have took communications and in college or something. I did more like radio back in the 20s. But, it is what it is. I'm here now, right? And then as far as the guests that we had on the show, it was fun. It was, of course, with LK, it was us helping support, getting guests on the show. It was Ohio Council Member Helen Rucker, talking about as far as what GM was doing in Ohio. It was Hot 97, Ebro in the Morning, Shawnee Culture was on the show. Miss T, the music manager for Tiny, of course, from Escape, and the wife of T.I., she was on the show, also worked with Candy. It was Reverend Todd Johnson supporting the family for Matthew Burroughs' death in Ohio. He was on the show. He has a podcast, by the way, now. It was Jay Gilbert. He's a co-founder of Label Logic. He was on the show. Moses West, the founder of AWG Atmospheric Water Generator. He was on the show. An interview with Tyrese, Deion Taylor, and Naomi Harris for Deion's movie Black and Blue. It was a group interview with a lot of other people, and it was an honor to have a group interview with those individuals in the music game. In the movie game, to really get into Black and Blue, which I like, by the way. And yeah, man, so it could have had a lot more guests, but to be real, it's not easy to get guests at the very beginning because you're a new show. You don't have a huge market. And then, of course, with technology, some of it is like, well, I could do a podcast for myself or, and do my own thing. I don't really have to go on to somebody else's podcast that's just starting. So it came to the point where, there was some other guests that we had coming up at the time with LK, and it just became like, hey, sometimes people have conflicting schedules, but for whatever reason, it didn't work. So I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to stress interviews. If the interviews come, the interviews come. And, as we grow and if the planet, moons, and stars align, then we'll have guests. If it doesn't, it is what it is. I'm here. The main thing is connect with my audience and build the community for Lyfeblood.com through GCOM Radio, the global community. So I'm here, man, and I can't believe so much time has passed, man. So much time has passed, and we're here. And I'm looking forward to do another 100 shows. And it's all about consistency. It's all about hard work and sacrifice and doing what's necessary to give content to the audience wherever you guys are coming from. And also, I can't forget the artists that also played a part in GCOM Radio. Of course, podcast is just mostly talking, right? But because I was an artist myself and I'm into music, I love live music. If we get a chance, I'm always there at a show, man. And that was my thing for one of in my earlier years, man. I was always at a club, you know what I mean? Trying to, get to meet people and talk with folks and filming and doing all that. And, of course we can't do that now with COVID. But it was not like I was going out a lot anyway before, and like 2 years prior. I just like connecting with people and talking with them on an intimate level. But I decided to have indie artists as a part of GCOM Radio, and it was a joy looking for these and it wasn't big. I would go on IG, and a lot of artists, because they care about their careers and they want to get a jump start in their career, they would promote their music, and I saw them. Or if I would do a hashtag search, either hip hop or R&B or pop or whatever music going on, that's how I would find artists. I reach out to them, and then they would submit the music, because of course they are promoting their stuff. But if somebody else is going to help promote them, of course it's a no-brainer. Of course you're let people play the music. But of course, what I loved about this is that they weren't paying me. I reached out to them. If they really dug what they saw or what they heard, they would send their music. And the good thing about it is you're not obligated to play anybody's music. You're not obligated. If you really like the rhythm of the sound of what you're hearing, then have it on the show. If you don't like it, then you keep it pushing. And I have over, let me see if I could do this. I have over, let me see, is there a number here I can show? Let me see. I could say I have over 100 artists, well over, probably 120 that I've reached out to. I play the music. I mean, it was artists like, let's at his, and I'm going to pick out the ones that I really, really dig. There was Cherry V, there's Chloe Flower, there's, there's Cole Fressy. He was a producer for Luna Gray. Oh my God, there is so much here. It's Creative Angel, Daria Savannah, Curtis Lux. You have it all in alphabetical order. Oh my God, it was so much. Ricardo Williams, Kato Stacks, Junie, Jermaine Riley. Oh my God, Jeremy Morgan from Morgan Heritage, Jameer Morgan, a family of Morgan Heritage. Had Pharoah Monch, had DJ K Slade on here, Push Audio. My God, there's Naya Lavina, Noel Charles. I mean, it goes on and on and on of hip hop, R&B, rock music. The Lyfers. Oh my God, so much. Urban Republic. Woo! Vito the singer. We have Vito on there. Xiamara Jennings. Like, there's so much music that I like, and it's crazy, man. And I try to have a balance of hip hop and R&B, but I don't know. I see more the R&B than I do hip hop. And of course, I'm a hip hop head. Another good dope hip hop head was Taane, man. Taane from the West Coast. I think he's from San Francisco. But he's got a real dope voice, man. And yeah, man. I mean, I have tons of music. And I'm looking forward to doing some things with some of these artists. Hopefully all of these artists, because I'm like, after a while, you play so much music and there's so much good music out there that doesn't have an opportunity to get heard. It's like, what can I do as the founder of Lyfeblood.com and host of GCOM Radio, where we can build a platform or an audience for some of these artists. And I created Music Life, where people can actually share their music with their own fan base and do collect. And a big part of that also inspiration was listening to 105, Power 105 with Charlamagne, when they had, what's that dude on there from Def Jam? Man, I forgot the dude's name. Executive of Def Jam, even though, let me see, executives of Def Jam. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, not that dude. It's this. Oh my God, what is his name? Oh my God, I can't believe they got Paul Rosenberg showing up here. It's another cat that was a part of Def Jam that was rolling with Jay-Z's crew, Rockefeller. Let me see here. Let me see if I can Google it and see if I can come up with this dude. Music. I don't know what the hell. I can't remember this guy's name. I can't remember. Let's see, Rockefeller Records. Let's see, is it under here? DJ Ski, no, not him. It's oh my God, I can't remember this guy's name. Anywho, I'll continue. If the guy's name comes to mind, I'll definitely I'll mention him, but I can't remember this guy's name. So anyway, So he was on Power 105, and I'm like, damn, the music business is changing. How do we make sure that artists can be heard, but also be properly compensated for the music they make? Because as you know, if you listen to the show, I'm not a big fan of music streaming. So that's why I said, you know what? Let me create Music Life, a platform, a part of Lyfeblood.com, where people can upload their music and share it with their fans. And as soon as their fans pay them a certain amount, they could be able to download the music, and not just that, but videos and such and such. So I'm a big supporter of the independent music community and making them a part of Lyfeblood.com, because I think it's a necessary thing where we're at a point in music and in knowledge of how the business goes, and the technology that's kind of surfaced that aids the indie artists from being independent. Yeah, I'm all for that, and having them be a part of Lyfeblood. So yeah, that's you know, a dope thing, that addition that we did with Lyfeblood.com. And yeah, so we're here. We're here, and hopefully to expand more and go to a larger audience and make it truly a global community on what I envision for on Lyfeblood and GCOM Radio. At some point, yeah, dopeness, the dopeness about the whole thing. At some point, you know, we're gonna take it and just get a space, man. I was kind of like battling, should I really do the video part of it? Because my whole thing was, why is everybody concentrating on video and this is like an audio format? You know what I mean? Like, it's like a necessary component to, as far as video, to be a part of podcasting. I'm like, what? Why? So I never really stressed doing the video portion of it. When it comes, you know, no big deal. But I never thought that it was like an integral part of podcasting. Podcasting, you're just supposed to be able to listen to people in your car, at home, at work, with your headphones on, whatever, and really listen to the content. Why do we have to concentrate on looking at people while we listen to them? You know what I mean? So I don't know. But yeah, when it's right for GCOM, I guess we'll add that element at some point. But I don't really stress it. You know what I mean? So let's go on with this show, as what we do always, to get into our format for GCOM Radio. We'll, as we know, we just get into open dimensions with things that we know for the week, and then whatever main topic that we have for the other two segments. So yeah, so what's the deal? What's going on here? Okay, so it's Black History Month, man. It's Black History Month. I do not have someone to share, and I did that last February. I would share someone for Black History Month, and someone that we don't necessarily know. It's not common knowledge, because every Black History Month, every February, everybody always shares the same people. They'll share the primary people is Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, and you know, typical folks that were a part of the civil rights movement in the 60s. But I think what's important is to share the inventors, man. The inventors that have created a device or technology that we kind of take for granted. And we don't necessarily have the information on who made this, where from elevators to the water gun to who helped astronauts circumvent the Earth. Like, these type of inventors and scientists and people within those specific fields that we need to know about. You know, we need to know about, because we want to inspire the kids, the young kids that may think, man, I don't see myself as an African American, as a Black American here in America in that field. To see these people that have become millionaires or public figures that have achieved something great within those specific fields, it's good for kids to know, man, to give them that inspiration and that direction and that drive to say, well, if that person can do it and it looks like me, I can do the same thing. So for the remainder of Black History Month, I'll look into who that you wouldn't necessarily hear and have them on the show, as far as their bio, and you know, and I know everybody's not going to know everything, because I know some people that's extra woke and you can't tell them nothing. They'll tell me information I don't know about the individual. So I won't, but you know, not everybody knows everybody. So I'll pick someone and I'll share it on my IG account or right here on the show, of course. All right, so what is the next thing? Ruth E. Carter. Who is Ruth E. Carter? She's a clothing designer for Coming to America. She teamed up with Crown Royal, the liquor company, to design a promotional box for the Coming to America sequel. I think that was dope, man. She kind of designed it in a way like how Prince Akeem was dressed and others, and I think it's a nice promotional item for the movie. I thought it was going to come out by the time Coming to America dropped, but actually it's in select stores right now, and I think I'll buy my bottle myself. I think that would be dope. And I'll just put it up because Coming to America, man, it's an American cinema, bro. Why not have the bottle Crown Royal in celebration of the sequel that took way too long to come out? We could put that up right there on my shelf. So that's dope. And Diddy is filing a lawsuit against Sean John. You know, it's funny. I didn't even know Diddy sold Sean John. And I always liked Sean John because Diddy always cared about the clothing line that he founded. And not like other people in the business, because sometimes people just take it as a hustle and then their heart is not in it. You can tell because by the look of the clothes. But Diddy really cared about Sean John. But lo and behold, and I didn't know, he sold his joint. He sold it in, I think, back in 2016 to GBG USA for I don't know, I forget how much. But he sold it in 2016. But he's suing it for $25 million because GBG USA said, or what they did was they placed quotes on the product in some kind of a 40-second video ad campaign. They put quotes that they said was from Diddy, and it wasn't from Diddy. Diddy was like, oh, I ain't say those things. And I think they put the image of Diddy in this 40-second video ad campaign, and it was like, yo, I ain't give you permission to use my face or say some things I didn't even say for this joint. Of course, you know why they did that, so people can believe that that Diddy is still owner of Sean John, and it could build excitement for people to buy the clothes. So he's suing them. You know, the game is crazy. The game could be corrupt. People will try to do anything just to sell a product. Now, sometimes I feel like, damn, man, Diddy sold Sean John. And I know this is business. But a lot of times the problem is when you sell off a very successful clothing brand, or any business for that matter, and I get it. People like the product. People like the clothing line, let's say in this particular scenario, because Diddy owns that. Diddy got his magic in Sean John. People are connected to the brand. But sometimes what happens is, and I get it from a financial point of view, Sean John doesn't make as much money as it did before. So the owners make a decision to sell the clothing line to another company. But the thing is, it at the same time, it loses its steam. Because if Diddy, the public figure, the rapper, the music executive, is no longer connected to Sean John, then to me that Sean John even loses his value even more. Because people say, well, you know what, if you don't own it, I mean, I don't care. You know, so it's very important that founders of clothing lines stick with the clothing line, even if it takes a dip. Now, I understand you want to make room for other businesses and you can't put your attention on everything. But, you know, it's sad that, you know, when people sell these clothing lines, that they just end up in some sort of sales bin, and then next thing you know, it disappears. And it's like, man, why? I mean, Jordache is still around. All these other clothing lines, these brands, of course, they've been sold off. But these clothing lines stay alive. And they're still in stores like Jordache and Guess and or any of the household name clothing brands. But when dudes like with Diddy sell off Sean John, they'll last for about a couple years, and then eventually people just lose the excitement and they just go away. And next thing you know, that brand that everybody loved disappears. You no longer see it anymore, and now you don't have a name for this particular brand. So of course we know why, you know, where Jordache would still be pushed and Sean John wouldn't be. But, you know, that's just the business, I guess, right? Oh, man, whatever. And the same thing happened with what do you call it? Well, Rockefeller. I liked Rockefeller when it came out back in the day. I really liked the clothes. You know what I mean? And I like Diddy, and the reason why I like Diddy's clothing line was because it had streetwear, but it also had business wear attached to it. And it was sleek and it was cool. And they just pushed the envelope. Like, not everybody was, of course, at the time wearing baggy jeans or oversized shirts or polo shirts or whatever. You know, he actually got into the business side. I thought that was pretty dope. But you know, and I like Baby Fat. Of course, Baby Fat was for the ladies, but Baby Fat was sold off, and then it disappeared. And I really liked the brand Baby Fat. I was like, oh, this is nice for the ladies. But then that disappeared. I heard that they're bringing Baby Fat back, just like how they're bringing FUBU back. That's another clothing line that disappeared, but the founders of FUBU are trying to bring it back. So it's like, man, a lot of these lines, these clothing lines that we really cared for disappeared, and now all of a sudden some of the founders are trying to reinvigorate the brand. So good luck to all of them that's trying to do that. Next thing, Joe Budden, man, is the head of creator equity at Patreon. So everybody knows at this point, Joe Budden left Spotify because he said on this show that Spotify does not respect him as a creator. And I think it had a lot to do with Joe, the other Joe Rogan. Because you know Joe Rogan, he did some magnanimous numbers. My man was doing magnanimous numbers when a deal was presented to him from Spotify. And I'm sure that kind of ruffled Joe's feathers, you know, Joe Budden. Not so much that the reach of Joe Rogan, you know, each their own. Everybody has their own audience. But the fact is, you want to be properly compensated for the audience that you do have. Now, if I remember correctly what Joe Budden was saying on his podcast, when he first got on Spotify, he was hitting the numbers, but the executives at Spotify did not respect that and did not treat him as an equal partner. So right after, and I'm sure there was some rumblings that was going on before Joe Rogan, but I definitely know after Joe Rogan, Joe Budden was like, hold up, nah, this can't go down. You just cut this dude the frat check, and of course for his audience. How come you're not doing the same for me? Yo, piss off. Of course, he ended it. Now he's with Patreon. So, and he's the head of creator equity. So, you know, I give him the best of luck, Joe Budden, that he builds his audience and takes his audience to Patreon, because creators should be properly compensated for the work that they do. And to me, honestly, if you do it in a way that he's doing it at Patreon, you don't have to have a gazillion followers to get a fat check from the company that you have your podcast on. Like I said, with Spotify, you can have your audience, and then they could properly, you know, they could hit you off or whatever to hear your stuff, and you can still live fat. So you don't have to get a contract from a company like Spotify to feel that you know, as far as business-wise, you hit the jackpot, like which, you know, you should at the stage that Joe Budden is in. But, you know, it doesn't, you know, you don't have to. You could go to the Patreon, and if people really like what you're doing, what Joe Budden's doing, they're gonna hit him off to hear his work. So big ups to Joe Budden. Now, I tell you this, Joe Budden, hey, if ever it doesn't work out over there at Patreon, you are welcome to come over to Lyfeblood.com, because we do the same thing where we can help artists or creators get properly compensated for the work that they do. So, but hey, man, do your thing at Patreon. Big ups to you, brother. But hey, tell your people about it. You can come to Lyfeblood. Patreon ain't the only hustler on the block. So I guess Patreon is Nike and I'm Reebok. So we're kind of doing the same thing. And I will never knock Patreon, because they're doing their thing. And everybody knows my story. I told about it when I was creating Lyfeblood. I had no idea Patreon even existed. And then I found out about them on one Sunday afternoon watching an internet news show. I was like, what? What's this? And of course, they're coming out of California. But it was all good. You know, I think there's room for everybody to do their thing. So yeah, and it kind of upsets me. I'm like, why is there so many bicycles, so many motorbikes, so many sneakers, so many of a certain product and computers, but then when it comes to social media, it's like one or nothing. Like, why does Facebook have to be the only social media site? I know there's many others, but I'm just saying. And then you think, well, probably people are just used to the fact that they have their network on Facebook, and then you have to jump. But who cares? People, it didn't matter with TikTok. It didn't matter with Twitter. It didn't matter with Reddit. It doesn't matter with any one of the social media things that's out there. And then, from recently what's been going on with Facebook having issues as far as the politics and their influence and how they shift news according to the likes and interests of their users. Mark Zuckerberg is having issues with that as far as where Facebook is at and how they are manipulating the algorithms to further divide people. Everybody saw that documentary. I think it was called Social. What was that documentary called? Everybody knows that. I was speaking about it on the show before about the downsides of social media. And I don't think social media is all that bad, but I think in a way that where Facebook is at currently, they have to take some sort of a certain level of responsibility for the data that they're collecting and how they're using it and how it's swaying the mass consciousness of people, but they're just in it for business, right? But anyway, I don't understand why they should be the only one in the game. And I don't complain about it, because if you don't like Facebook, get off of Facebook. Go someplace else. But I don't know why people complain and be like, God damn it, Facebook, and they still end up using Facebook. I don't really care to be on Facebook anymore. Really, honestly, I don't care. Besides the fact that I am the founder of Lyfeblood.com. It's like, you can do something else. What's next that we have here? The Mandalorian, man. The Mandalorian. It's funny, I was doing a research on this, and I ran into an article about the Mandalorian, a movie technology. Now, I never knew this existed, and the information that I found was months old. And the movie technology has advanced to the point where they don't even need green screen. When you go on YouTube and you look for behind the scenes of movies and you see these big green screen, billboard size, flat boards, whatever that's behind the set. And of course, in post, they change that for backgrounds, add castles, or whatever the setting is for that particular movie. And it could be blue as well. But the problem with green screen is that what they call a spill. So you want to properly light green screen so you can do the post correctly in whatever graphics or scenery that you want to put behind. But unfortunately, green screen, when you show light on the green screen, it reflects that color onto the subject, onto the actors. So you see a green spill glow off of the edges of the surface of the actor. And then, the post, the editor has to do all this, the work on their computer and post to kind of remove that, and it's such a pain in the ass. So what happens is they went back to TV screens behind the settings, the set of whatever the production set. They have TV screens. This is not new though. They've had TV screens whenever for certain scenes, for actors, like say for instance, it was James Bond and he's getting chased by a bad guy in his car, and you see him, and you obviously know, of course, now that that's just a flat TV screen. They're projecting the image on the back, and then, the actor is acting, right? Like he's actually driving, right? But of course, you can see that it's off because the way the camera pans, the way the camera records the subject, the background naturally moves. If you're taking an image of a subject and you pan left and right, or you zoom in, the background moves to a certain degree according to what's in the foreground. Your subject, it's just how the eye perceives distance, right, from the foreground and the background. So obviously you can make out that was a TV screen in the back in the 50s and 60s. But now, of course, with technology, with the advancement of TV, they have these large LED screens, the size of green screen. And of course, with Mandalorian, with George Lucas, he has ILM, Industrial Light and Magic. And they have this thing called, what do you call the volume? And it's a self-contained LED TV screen production set on the top and on the sides, curved. And the actors are in there, and the production set is real as far as what they're walking on. But say the background is the image of wherever this particular scene is wants to show the audience. And I'm like, wow, that is crazy. I never knew, because I thought that was either green screen, but it's actually freaking LED screens. And they have a row of actual editors that they can change the background on a fly. So if they need to adjust the blue in the sky, they need to adjust, they want to add a mountain here, or they don't want to add a mountain on the right side, they can add it on the left side. They can add more shadows, they can make the mountain taller. Yo, it is unbelievable, and it's all real time as the actors and the director and the DP moves from one scene to the next. And they do this as far as taking away that funny look, like back in the 50s, 60s, by using Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine is a software that video games use to develop the graphics. And they use Unreal Engine so you can have a proper, how should I say, adjustment of the background and the subject in the foreground, where it looks like he's actually or she's actually there in this world. And you don't even notice. And that thing is just crazy to me. Now, they're saying to the point where they want to get rid of green screen and blue screen altogether. They're like, hey man, let's go back to TVs. And I think that's absolutely amazing. And it makes me think, and I posted that on my IG account, because I always said, yo, let's do a movie on ancient Kemet. Now, you know, we've had a lot, and I spoke about it on the show again before with Gal Gadot. She's Wonder Woman. She's actually working with Patty Jenkins, the director of Wonder Woman, to do a movie on Cleopatra. I'm like, come on, we know Cleopatra. But, you know, put all that aside, if we really want to make a movie on the real people of ancient Kemet, we're people of African descent, there's no excuse why we can't make it. And I always say, let's make it as big as Dr. Zhivago, as big as Troy with Brad Pitt. Let's just make it a big, production. We go on set to Egypt. But now that is not even necessary with the volume, with ILM's volume. You can actually go on set, on studio set, and film everything using this technology. And I'm like, what are we waiting for? I'm like, what? I don't understand what's so taboo about this. I don't see, like, there's 1,000 movies on Rome and Greece and ancient times, and you could flip it 1,000 different ways. They have powers, they don't have powers. They want to do a real set, a timepiece, and they'll do Alexander the Great, and they'll do freaking Caesar, and they have all these different characters. They'll do offshoots, they'll make up characters in Rome, and all this. They could do 1,000 different ways, but we can't get one damn movie in ancient Egypt with African people in there. Because even everybody in the woke community, even the woke white folk, know the deal and is waiting for this movie to come out. Because when that movie came out, Gaza, Egypt, the white people was getting crazy. It was like, I mean, come on. So come on, man. Let's see what we could do. And one, I'm really looking forward for ILM's the volume taking over, man. I mean, forget green screen, because I understand from an editor point of view, like what that means. It's a lot of tweaking, wasting a lot of time, and how you could do it on the fly by having the editors right there as you're shooting these scenes with the actors. I think it's fantastic. But as far as let's do in ancient Egypt, ancient Kemet, we can, you get the budget together, use ILM's volume, even hire ILM if necessary, or a smaller company, whatever is more affordable, to get this movie shot. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah. Anyway, so I thought that was dope. What else is going on? So, I think the last thing, before we move on to some music, The last thing is like, what is the deal with the right? As I always say, because I keep on with the news, the GOP, I don't understand like the logic being pushed by the right as of late. And you understand, and I said that the conservatism and everything that it is. What it representing, abortion, small government, state rights, all that business. But as of late, I don't understand what has happened to the GOP. Seriously, I'm not saying that, and I'll say it again, I'm not Democrat, I'm not Republican, I'm independent. I just watch this like a tennis game. It's crazy how, where is the logic, the facts, the common sense? Where is all this crazy talk coming from? Where is this coming from? I don't see how this benefits having progress in Congress or the people they represent. And I'm talking about a good portion of the right. I'm talking about from McConnell, Graham, these old dogs in the Senate, down to the younger ones like Junior Senator Josh Hawley and Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. Where is this craziness happening? I don't understand. I think of it as like a reaction, to me, is what they perceive is taking place in Congress and the nation. A lot of this, from, as I said before, like with Marjorie Greene, like Jewish lasers and the faking of the shooting in the schools. I don't know where it's coming. And it's funny, I'm like, who are her constituents? And the thing, I was talking to a friend the other day, I was like, Marjorie Greene is talking about all this crazy whacked out things. When is someone going to film her? Because she represents the 14th District, House of Representatives in Georgia. No news organization has went down to her district and actually asked the people that voted for her what they feel about Marjorie Greene. Now, of course, I know there's going to be some people that's going to support her. But I'm talking about the people is like, okay, if you want to go with, the Trump thing, they cheated us out of the election, whatever, QAnon, whatever the talking points, at some point, I would think the people that voted for her to say, you know what, yeah, that's one part of it, but really, what's going on in our district? Yeah, nobody is talking about the issues. She's not talking about the issues. She's talking about craziness. Every time the mic is in her face, every time the camera is in her face, she's talking about some crazy, and it's right out of of Trump's playbook. She's talking about things that get people like, oh my God, can you believe what she just said? And it's more even crazier than the day before, the week before. But the more you give time to all of this crazy talk, the less time you get to talk about the real issues in her district. Talking about joblessness, unemployment, the unemployed, schools condition, the condition of her schools, the roads, business, the lighting, as far as the street lights or daycare or whatever that deals with the people in her district. The focus should be on those issues. It shouldn't be her trying to defend some crazy remark that she made about school shootings. And if I was a voter in her district, at some point I'm like, okay, but because regardless of what she talks about right now, the crazy stuff, whatever that was a problem in her district before she was voted on, it still exists today. So as a voter in a district, I'm like, yo, you know what? I need for you to talk about what I'm dealing with when it comes to daycare, when it comes to problems with schools in that district, when it comes to trying to get something done that benefits the people. But she goes on this wild tangent. And I can't believe not CNN, not Fox, nobody is going in her district and asking her, hey, what you think about what she's doing so far? That's crazy. But I think my personal feeling that all of this crazy talk, and it's just not Marjorie Greene, but as I said, Josh Hawley and all the other Republicans that voted for her, I think it's kind of it reflects their ideology and their belief. And their ideology and belief is under attack. What is their ideology? everything that they have learned since they were in grade school, what they learned from Manifest Destiny, from white supremacy, the ordained, the chosen folk, all of this intertwined or interwoven into their educational system, condition them to feel that they are above the rest. And when reality comes in and threatens that belief system, all of a sudden they start, it's reflexive, as I said before, where they try to push back on it. And we all do it. As human beings, we all do it. We do it all the time. The suspension of disbelief when something comes in direct conflict of what we believe to be true. Like lifting weights. Like all of a sudden you're taught all your life that you can lift 300 pounds. You're strong, you're muscular, you're 6'2", you're muscular. You can lift 300 pounds with your pinky. You've been told this all your life. Your ancestors did it. Your brother did it. George Washington did it. Everybody did it. Everything that you have learned says you can lift 300 pounds with your pinky. Then all of a sudden, you come by and you try to lift the barbell, the 300-pound barbell with your pinky. It doesn't work. So what happens? All of a sudden, you start looking for reasons why this didn't work. Oh, no. It must be the type of metal that was used. Oh, no. They put too much weight on it. Oh, no. It must be the old brand of weights. That's why I can't lift it. So instead of dealing with the fact of the truth is you cannot lift 300 pounds with your pinky, you will go on this crazy journey, this long, whacked out journey on excuses why you couldn't lift the weight. And it disrupts your whole idea of what you can do, of who you are, because of the reality is that you can't lift this weight for 300 pounds. And it's a variety of scenarios. You know, it could be a rich man not being able to get a beautiful woman, a rich man believing that he's just as handsome as Brad Pitt when the woman's really with him because of the money. It could be a football player scoring points or what they couldn't score on the field, to Hitler snubbing Jesse Owens after winning several medals in Berlin. Because Hitler did not want to shake Jesse Owens' hands after winning those medals, because he was like, I'm not shaking the hand of a Negro. There's plenty of documentary footage on that. So it's this suspension of disbelief where they're like, wait a second, why is this not? Because I've been taught all my life to believe that this is true. Now, this is on an individual basis. Now, imagine what the scenario is when it's on a large scale, when you're dealing with millions of people that comes from their educational system that taught them about this mythology, this manifest destiny, the Indians and the Pilgrims, slavery, better schools in your neighborhood, pristine neighborhoods that you belong in as opposed to poorer neighborhoods. Oh, that must be them. That must be a personal flaw of theirs. George Washington on the dollar bill, NASA and the first successful trip around the earth. And I suggest everybody go watch Hidden Figures. The All-American. This reality, the truth comes into play, and the mind starts to push back. The reality of everything that you have been taught is wrong. What happens? Excuse me. And then after you learn all of that, once opposing information and true the facts of reality comes into your sphere or close to your sphere, this world, and it gets close to what you thought was the case, the truth, and when it directly conflicts with your truth that you've been raised with, your mind starts to push back. your mind starts to push back violently. And you come up with all types of alternative facts on why that's not the case. No, I have to be able to lift 300-pound barbell with one finger. No, I have pristine neighborhoods and better schools because we just know how to do it better. No, the Pilgrims, they were actually nice to the Indians. All these things, you're reflexively pushing back on the truth, the information that conflicts with this world that was created. Now, open minds can accept the information, right? But the majority of people violently push back. And they will come up with every excuse to believe in the world that was fabricated for them. And sometimes the truth, it's kind of like going through grief. And it's also related to what was happening at the Capitol building. That truth finally presents itself. It's not going anywhere. It's not moving. You can't close your eyes to it. You can't ignore it. Now it's in your face. It's smack dab in your face. You have to deal with it. And it's the same thing of dealing with grief in one's life. Right now, these people are dealing with the 5 stages of grief, or what they say. I believe it's psychology, where they come from. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and then finally acceptance. And I believe that's what's happening in politics right now. The mentality, the worldview that's being questioned, this QAnon business. This is the 5 stages of grief, and the mind is fighting to control this world that was presented to them all their life. Understand what I'm saying? And sometimes it goes back and forth. Some politicians are in denial, some of them in anger, and some of them start to bargain. You could see that on the news. Oh, we got to have some sort of unity. We should have unity. That's the bargaining part. But it's not as it moves in from one stage to the next, and we're not moving back. It constantly moves back and forth from denial, anger, bargaining, back to denial, then to anger, then to bargaining, then back to denial. It flashes back and forth. However, you can tell of this erratic behavior, this illogicalness, this chaos. It's nonsensical. And they're battling this truth. They're battling it. Now, I'm hoping that we can have an understanding of truth. But it's not going to be easy. And as I said in the last show, that's called growing pains. And we're going to have to drag these people into the 21st century. As their minds are fiercely trying to build this world, this force field to block out this truth that's confronting them. We have to disintegrate this worldview, this mythology. But we have to understand that even them trying to rebuild this world by the words that they use, they will try to do it with words, but eventually it always manifests into violence. That's how deep the conditioning is. That's what I see with Marjorie Greene and Josh Hawley and the GOP. Their minds and bodies are literally fighting against what's the truth. And that's why you have these flights of fancy happening with Jewish lasers. It makes no sense. It makes sense to them in their world, but everybody of sound mind and body outside of that is looking at the insanity and looking at each other like, really? What is she talking about? And all she could do is look at you like, yeah. That's the mind fighting back the truth. And in the truth that they have makes them comfortable, because it's made them comfortable all their lives. That's what I see with the GOP, with Senator Josh Hawley, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, and everyone that coddles that behavior. So it's not something that you could just vote out, man. This is something that you have to deal with re-education. You have to tell the truth from the very beginning of this country up to right now, February 8th, 2021. Excuse me, or whenever this show broadcasts, you know what I mean? But right now, amazing. All right, so let's get into some music, man. Let's get into some music. What we gonna get into? I don't know any of the music that I want. I'm just gonna freestyle this. And what we're gonna do in this show, we're just gonna pick my personal choice of the artists that have been on the show for the last 2 years. I will replay their music, some of them. I play about 3 songs, all right? My absolute favorite, these artists should be megastars at this point. Because you can hear it in their lyrics, you can hear it in their talent as singers, or the words that they rap. They deserve the world. And I would like to personally thank, again, every artist that have submitted their music for the show. Over the 100 artists that have submitted their music to GCOM Radio, and you gave me an opportunity to play your talent to the audience. I deeply thank you for that. So let's get into some music, and we'll be right back with the second segment. All right, we'll be right back.
Ooh, a GCOM exclusive.
Silly of me, I fell in love. Don't care enough, I care too much. When will it end? You keep me around for your pleasure. The love don't measure up to what you say that you feel for me. Why are you playing games? I need you badly. I know you can't see the bigger picture. You're one-track minded and selfish with it. And at night when you got me crying out, all I'm thinking about is who you thinking about. Cause you here with me, but you ain't here with me. Baby, where you having me down? If you love me, baby, just say it. I've had enough of all of the complaining, and I'm so tired. Your love's what I require. If you're mine, I shouldn't have to wonder who's up under you, and who's been touching you, and who's been calling you. I've been down sometime, and I know if you wanted me, baby, I know. I don't wanna wait around no more, no more. I'm tired of you feeling unsure. Silly of me, I fell in love. You don't care enough, I care too much. I need some real, some chasing after you, I can do better. I ain't even mad, boys, no pressure. You gon' see when I'm out, but please remember, won't be me and you, boy, no, never, ever again.
What it do?
It's GCOM Radio
I am one of the flyers.
on iHeartRadio.
Old Town. Positive vibes, yeah. Hey, it's been heating up in the 7. Yeah, it's been heating up in the 7. I've been out here working in the 7. What? It's been heating up in the 7. 4-7 in the 7. Man, it's been heating up in the 7. Roll up, I slide out. Pull up, slide out, we in the 7. All the way from New York to the O. 40718, the vibe king. Yeah. I got a magic like Disney. I got a hurricane trying to hit me. I got 2 exes saying they miss me. Taking next to 3. Money in my business. How many grown men that beating they feelings? Cause they baby mama be so appealing. She from the city, she back in the club. Tell me what's gon' happen to the children. I got the magic like Penny. Either we sip the Henny or the Remy. Hoes and kissing me, they wish they was kissing me. I got a queen, I don't need a Heffany, no. Back in the O, watch it unfold. The smoke by the O, but who about the road? She be at oh no, I be with the plug. I be with Cynic and Scholar and Crush. Positive vibe, yeah, my mind is so limitless. Either way, 100% what I'm giving it. Either way, we gon' sell out the Amway. My energy lower the crime rate. I do it for all of us, not fame. Newest Orlando, it's my fam. In Florida, we don't need a spray tan. Hop pop could class of 2010. 7. Yeah, it's been heating up in the 7. I've been out here working in the 7. What? It's been heating up in the 7. 4-7 in the 7. Man, it's been heating up in the 7. Pull up, slide out, we in the 7. That's where we at with us, you already know. 40718. Just throw the doors over and let that bitch swing. Ride down motherfucking I-4. They fuck that building, man, my chain is a ISO. Yo, Angel, what these niggas really want, ma? Always tell these niggas that I really got dough. I'm the voice of the motherfucking city, nigga. And tell these niggas they ain't really fucking with me, nigga. I keep them things in my basement like Tigger, nigga. And my voice real loud like Bigger, nigga. Moving them things from state to state, from oranges to peaches on my fucking license plate. Man, them niggas ain't fucking with weed, boy. Playing for keeps, no cut like D-boy. Wanna put me in so cause the fucking feet, boy. King cocky, man, I'm closer to my dreams, boy. Netflix, man, my niggas on some stranger things. In my city, they pulling triggers like stranger things. Now let it breathe, nigga. Fuck you niggas thought it was. This shit ain't Disney, nigga. So next time you in my city, make sure you comfortable out there in the fucking 7. Yeah, it's been heating up in the 7. I've been out here working in the 7. What? It's been heating up in the 7. 4-7 in the 7. Man, it's been heating up in the 7. Pull up, slide out, we in the 7. 40718. State to state.
Oh my God. I want to hear more. GCOM Radio.
Is it your smile? Is it the way you dress? Oh, you got me going wild. You got my heart beating out my chest. You telling me you broke your heart, baby girl, it's not my plan. Cause I will love you better. I can love you better than he can. Cause you deserve to be treated like you're number one. I'm not here for the games, I'm telling you, baby. See, I don't wanna waste time, cause when I'm with you, feels right. Superman, I can be the one to save you. Let me upgrade you. I will love you better, I will love you better. Better than him. I will treat you better, I will treat you better. Better than him. So give me your loving. Is it the way you talk? Is it those thighs? Is it the way you walk? You told me that he messed you around. Told me that he played you for a fool. See, I will never hurt you, and I will never mistreat you. 'Cause you deserve to be treated like the only one. You're in my lane, I'm telling you, baby. So baby, make up your mind. Roll with the boss and just get right. Superman, I can be the one to save you. Let me upgrade you. I will love you better. I will love you better. Better than him. I will treat you better. I will treat you better. Better than him. So give me your loving and your time. I promise that I will treat you right. You can search the world, you will not find another love like this. 'Cause he
GCOM Radio, powered by Lyfeblood.com. Come join, be a lifer. Practice dollar power and build financial independence.
All right, so we're back. Hopefully you love the artists that we played here. I don't know who I'm playing. But listen to their music. If you want to go to their IG, I will have it on my IG account, and you'll see those artists. And click on their IG profiles and support them in their music wherever they are, on iTunes, whatever. So that would be real dope. That's the best way that you can thank artists today. Buy their music, and it's available, whether it's $1, $1.33, or whatever. Buying their record for the whole project for $10 or $6.99, it's out there. Support these artists. They deserve to be heard and to be compensated for the talent that they have. All right, so before we continue into the next segment, you know what we do. We got to get into business, into small business, established business, whatever. And again, why we do this? Because business is a big part of Lyfeblood.com. It's a big part of GCOM Radio. And I like to support artists that are doing, especially black artists. Entrepreneurs. I like to support entrepreneurs that are doing their thing, because they deserve to be heard in any way possible, and they deserve to have your business. One of the things that we're having an issue with, as what we see, or what I see out in the news, is that you could be an entrepreneur creating a product or a service, But what is the developing issue with innovative business is that when you are approached by a company, that they take your idea. They'll go through the whole rigmarole of, talking with you, everything, and next thing you know, because they're a big company, all of a sudden, you may have created pictures that digitally switch from one family member to the next, and you call it, family paint, whatever. Next thing you know, you're talking with this company, and then they say, hey, we want to do it, and then all of a sudden they have something equal, like in that moment, in 2 weeks. It's like, what? And they're calling it family, or I don't know, love family, and it's like a reverse or a new name, and it's the same product, and it's like, what? So this is the issue that's coming down with business, and I think every entrepreneur should be supported to do their own thing. And what we do want to do, and I'm thinking up of a name, where artists, why I keep on thinking artists, entrepreneurs can present their business on Lyfeblood.com and be properly funded for it, and hopefully they can present it to the Lyfeblood community and to the greater market that they have in mind for their product or service. And then they don't have to worry about being snatched up by or someone copying their device or something like that. And then what are they going to do? They don't have money to deal with these multinational corporations. So that's why I talk about business here on Lyfeblood.com, and you're more than welcome to set up a profile of your business on Lyfeblood.com. So long-winded, yes, but again, this is the 100th show, and I just want to share my feelings with you guys. You know what I mean? Where I want to go with Lyfeblood, if you haven't heard it before, if you're just tuning now, especially on the 100th episode. All right, so let's get into business of the week. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, but
Bringing you the business of the week and its innovative founders is what you've been waiting for.
What makes a room inviting? The look, the feel, the lighting, the sound of music, the colors patterned in a way that adequately balances each other. What else? One more thing, a key sensory attribute from humans, the sense of smell. The smell is probably the primary thing you experience walking into a new space. It sets the mood right and puts you in the right frame of mind for what will be the rest of that new experience. Where will the source of that fragrance come from? A scented candle. It just doesn't give the ambiance from lighting, but also the sweet scent of your choice. Founder Alice A. Moore provides us that beautifulness from aromas coming from the select scented candles from her company, AlyceACandleCo.com. She always had a passion for mind-soothing fragrances, and you can sense it in her candles such as Cocoa Honey Gold, Caramel Apple of My Eye, or essential oil sprays made of lavender and lemon. Lyfeblood.com would like to salute AlyceACandleCo.com for creating the aromas that get a room set for that special occasion, or if you just want to bask in the sweetness floating through your home. All right. So yeah, and this is segment 2. So I was thinking about like the idea of a CEO in business, and I think the nature of the CEO is on the cusp of changing. The nature, the idea, the behavior, the attitude, the outlook of the CEO is changing, and hopefully I could be one of those CEOs. And I think originally back in the day when the movie Wall Street came out with was it Wall Street? And I'm looking it up right now. Wall Street. It was made in 1987. The actor's name was Michael Douglas. He played Gordon Gekko. He was just a guy on Wall Street. And I gotta rewatch that movie because it's been so long since I've seen Wall Street. And basically Gordon Gekko was doing this speech and he was talking about greed is good. And at the time, this movie was huge. It was at the time of Wall Street's, like, it was skyrocketing, and there was so much money being made at the time. And man, the 1980s Woo, man, these folks that were on the floor of Wall Street, Gordon Gekko was their god. You know, it was their hero. Much like people see, oh my God, Captain America. Gordon Gekko was the Wall Street traders' Captain America. And it was for these hyper capitalists. And it represented, Gordon Gekko represented everything of the 80s about excess and rich and wealth. And it was like Robin Leach's Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. That's who Gordon Gekko, I mean, there was nothing, coke, lines of coke, hard partying, going into the office, spending 12 hours, like everything. This was the time period. But I think what's happening is the times are changing and people are paying more attention. There was a pressure from the public and also people genuinely wanting to have a different attitude when it comes to how people conduct business for corporations. And I believe there's got to be a time for a new CEO. And it's a CEO in a sense where, listen, capitalism is here. And I have a lot of friends that don't believe in capitalism. They believe, take away money, take away, there should be something that's more fair and balanced for people. And I do believe in that, don't get me wrong. But it's not coming anytime soon. This is the world we live in. It's kind of like gas-powered cars. A lot of people talking about believe in Tesla and everything that Elon Musk represents as a CEO himself. But we still drive gas-powered cars. So it's going to take time to flip over to that. But we can feel like 100% into green energy, green technology, and still having to drive gas-powered cars. And I think that's in the same sense of what's happening with the CEO. We believe that business should be conducted differently, all the while still existing within the old way of doing things. And that's the Gordon Gekko, that was everything could be commodified, no stone is left unturned, party, coke, drugs, drinking, making more money, hand over fist, everything else, who cares as long as I make money. And I think and I believe that's changing. Now, it's funny because I saw a commercial on YouTube from UBS. UBS is a Swiss multinational investment bank. They're also a wealth management company and asset management for private, corporate, and institutional clients. However, UBS is promoting this new thing, right? They have a think tank called UBS Evidence Lab, and they want to take a certain amount of data sets, present it to professionals in the field, experts, taking this information and seeing how they can use it to change the nature of the corporation. Now, how serious they are, I have no idea. This could be total hogwash. And, and I say that because companies have great PR, but when it comes to actually implementing all of these new great programs and initiatives, they fall through and they just talk a good game. But UBS has this thing, right? And you could go on their site, Google UBS Evidence Lab. So they put together all this data, present it to experts, and see how they can use it to improve the corporation. And of course, in turn, the CEO and its employees. And they go by specific data sets collected under ESG, as they call it. Now, ESG is that program where it's an acronym for environment, how we live in a sustainable world and protect our environment. S for social, the relations between people in the corporate sense and individuals, workers' rights, income distribution, yada, yada, yada. And governance, how these companies actually manage all of this once they have all this information. Now, how can this apply? How can we apply this method to the CEOs of today? And I think the millennials and whatever generation that we're going to call the next group of the young and promised, how is this going to change the way we do our business? And hopefully this can be in a way where we can, certain things is not we shouldn't commodify like water. I don't think I don't think we should commodify that. And then one of the big bigs, and I'll say this with Coca-Cola, there is a community in the United States. Coca-Cola extracts the water and they use the water to make, of course, Coke. All right, soda pop. But the problem is with Coca-Cola, they're draining the streams of this particular community. And I can't remember the community. I saw this short piece on it. Now, how through this UBS evidence lab can they Coca-Cola utilize this information to not drain the natural resources of this particular town, but yet at the same time offer Coca-Cola to people? Now, I'm not a huge Coca-Cola drinker. I'm just saying, as far as the responsibilities of a corporation, how can they still make a product, yet at the same time not kill the environment and also get a lot of its citizens mad, human beings? And by using this UBS evidence lab under the environment, social, and governance structure, this program, ways that Coca-Cola can do it is by utilizing new technologies that provide water without draining the environment. And I say this as far as as what I said, I had Moses West on the show, and his invention was the AWG, atmospheric water generator. You can literally pull water out of the air to create water. You can literally take the H2O, and in the process, I'm not going to go into the details, where you could create gallons of water flowing from this machine that could be beneficial for the community or the city or the county or whatever. Now, of course, you can upscale this. You could go to my interview with Moses West, and you can not just make hundreds of gallons, but thousands and thousands of gallons of water, depending on the area. Of course, humidity plays a big part in it, where you can get that water that you need. Now, if Coca-Cola did this, all of a sudden they can extract the water, make Coke, and all of a sudden we solve the issue. They can no longer extract the water from this community. People are happy and the environment's not drained. Now you're actually pulling water out of the air. And as I said, I don't believe water is scarce. That's just a tactic from business in hypercapitalism to put a price on our natural resource in order to sell it at a price where they can make profit. And I don't believe in that. Now, again, let me just say this. I'm not saying for people to drink gallons of Coke. It's not healthy for you. All right. Now, I do drink it. I'm not going to front. I do drink but I don't drink like how people drink it every day. Like every couple of weeks, I'll have, the 16 ounce. I'm not big on soda. I drink more juice than anything, like orange juice, pineapple juice, grapefruit juice, things of that nature. I'm a juice person, so I'll drink that quicker than I'll drink soda. But yeah, these are the things that I'm talking about, is having the new idea of what it is to be a CEO or a business running under this program. And I always say, I'm not saying for businesses not to make money. Every business in this capitalist world has got to make some sort of money. But I think there should be measurements on how business is conducted in a world where we are increasingly understanding our negative impact on our environment. As I said, I think certain things need to be left untouched. And we got to think about our environment. Now, we could do this with nuclear bombs. We understand the devastation of nuclear bombs. And so far, man, knock on wood, human beings haven't figured out a way to kill each other using nuclear bombs. Because there's an immediate death in that. But it's important that we see that there's also a slow death when we destroy our environment. And if we can figure out how to not use nuclear bombs, we can figure out how we can be in business and not damage the world that we live in. Now, business becoming more democratized. That's also the changing thing with this technology that's coming into play, that's being presented to us. Where things are becoming more democratized and not just limited to a small group of people, but now everyone can partake in the changing of this technology, how it's changing the landscape of business, now from a consumer point of view. Now, the reason why I say that, of course, with the recent information, that scandal with Robinhood and these hedge fund companies. Now, we have to start rebuilding the way we see things as technology starts opening more and more opportunity for the masses. And it's no longer just for the small group of people to benefit from, to make money from, to profit off of. The technology, as I said, is going to hurt us. But if we properly prepare, we can use the technology and these advancements to democratize business from a CEO point of view and also from an employee point of view. What do I say about an employee point of view? You may not have to worry about dealing with an asshole boss. You can leave your job. You can say, I don't want to do this anymore. I did this for about 2 years. I don't have to. And you don't have to worry about where you're going to figure out how to get a next meal once you're plugged into a system, as I say, with Lyfeblood.com. Where the people give laterally in a decentralized economic system where money is being offered to people wherever you need it, as far as individuals or for more of group efforts for the community. People are not, they don't have to stick with their jobs. And then what do CEOs have to do? CEOs have to recognize they can no longer control people by what they say, because they say, well, you ain't gonna go anywhere because you got where else to go. So you stick with me, and I'm gonna treat you like shit because I can do that. That is changing, because as we democratize the way we do business from an employee point of view, the less CEOs can feel that they have this totalitarian control over its employees. And they have to be more fair, more balanced, more impartial. That, to me, where the technology is going to force the behavior of the CEO in another direction. And as this is how technology not only affects the consumer, but now affects the CEO. And we're moving so fast, man. And I don't think we're taking the time to acknowledge and notice how this COVID and this technology and how our society is in general is being affected by this. That's why in ways where the Lyfeblood comes in play, I'm like, let's look what's happening down the line and start preparing for it. Let's not get to the precipice and all of a sudden we're running around like chickens with their head cut off trying to figure out, oh my God, how are we going to take care of the people? Because the politicians are not going to do it. The company is not going to do it. And it's the companies that's offering these new technologies that's making us more efficient consumers and making their business more efficient is what's pushing the line to where we're dealing with the imbalance, the lack of jobs, the underemployed, the lack of skilled labor. So we have to start paying attention on the trajectory of our society. CEOs are going to have to adjust to this new technology just as much as they want their employees to adjust to this new technology. How is it's affecting the citizen? But they also have to take into account how it's going to affect them. It's going to turn back on them. It's going to be like, oh, I didn't think that was going to happen. As I said, perfect example with Robinhood. When they took the middleman out, the stockbroker out, helping you trying to find the right stocks, and they created apps where you yourself can pick your stocks. You could do everything a broker would do, but they didn't realize how that can turn on them when it came to dealing with GameStop. You see how the technology not only affects the consumer, the employee, but now the creators of the technology? We have to start realizing how this is changing our lives. And this ties into, again, Marjorie Greene and Junior Senator Jeff Hawley, what's his name? The Junior Senator, Josh Hawley, all right? The technology itself is forcing these politicians to change with the people, this new demographic or the growing demographic. You can no longer ignore the demographic that's in their face. And because of the technologies, is allowing people alternative avenues to make money, make profit. Now they have to deal with the fact that, they can no longer just kind of siphon off that money to people that look like them just for them. Now the technology has democratized and is opening it to everybody. Now everybody's getting a piece of pie, as they should. As they should. And that's disturbing them. So we're looking for it to be, hopefully with this technology, that CEOs can change their behavior. And the talk is happening. These conversations are happening with the well-off, the rich, the people. It is, but it's forcing the conversation even further. Just like how COVID is forcing us to deal with the ever-changing interactions between human beings in the way that we should deal with this COVID during this time. So hopefully that I can be part of that change of the new CEO, where it doesn't have to be strictly based on exploitation, but also where everyone can be involved and everyone can partake. And you can still have this economic system that we have, but now it's no longer just for the chosen few or a specific group of people. That's for everyone. All right, let's go on to some next bit of music. I'll just leave it open. Whatever I pick is what I pick. Listen to that music. Of course, check my IG account for who these artists are. All right, so we'll be back for the last segment. All right.
Can we make love like it's the last time? Put your head on me, now you're all mine. I get the feeling that you're ready, yeah. Okay, tell me what you want, there's nothing that we can't do. Hold me tight like it's the last time. Like it's the last time, yeah. Sex in the Lamborghini, rub it like it's a genie. I know just what you like, baby, turn down the lights. Put on a private show, don't take it slow. But when we get low, got my body like, oh, 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 yeah. My body like, oh, 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 yeah. My body like, oh, 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 yeah. My body like, oh, 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 oh. Can we make love like it's the last time? No taking breaks, there ain't no halftime. Don't need no friends, don't need no company. No, don't need no club, don't need no party, just me and you. So make me feel like it's the last time. Like it's the last time. Like it's the last time, yeah, yeah. Sex in the Lamborghini, rub it like it's a genie. I know just what you like, baby, turn down the lights. Put on a private show, don't take it slow. But when we get low, got my body like, oh, 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 yeah. My body like, oh, 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 yeah. My body like, oh, 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 yeah. My body like, oh, 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 oh. Can we make love like it's the last time? Yeah, yeah. Put your head on me, now you're all mine, all mine, all mine. Can we make love like it's the last time? Last time, put your head on me, now you're all mine, all mine. We ain't got no time for FaceTime, FaceTime. We can move it like it's last night, last night. I see your body rolling in close. I see the way you're moving and I know the way it goes. Moving your direction and I feel it going slow. But we can move this further, you just gotta let me know. Sex in the Lamborghini, rub it like it's a genie. I know just what you like, baby, turn down the lights. Put on a private show, don't take it slow. But when we get low, got my body like, oh, 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 yeah. My body like, oh, 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 yeah. My body like, oh, 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 yeah. My body like, oh, 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 oh. Last time. Last time.
iHeartRadio.
I don't know about the method, but all I know they gon' kill me, I represent. These is parables telling you how it is. Sacrificing my every comfort to give. Malcolm Martin, Jesus was murdered for doing this. Live your life for others and giving up for the poor. Speaking for the voiceless and reconciling the wrong. Fight against the darkness and making sure it's exposed. They tell me to stop, never, my life was never my own. A bullet just sound, my stomach just turned. I'm moving around the side of the town where it's hip and cool to be down. Not running away from the fight. These homies is brave, not braver than me, cause my life too precious for grave. But the one who rose from the grave has commissioned me, studied his words and picked up his empathy. Now I see the hood differently, so why would I move from it? Just like the dancers on TV stole all the moves from it. But back to my sermon about life, though it's really about death. I live to make the world better and die to my flesh. I live to overcome the evil and stomp on his head, and in the process kill these rappers in every breath. But when the music stops, the realest one's done standing. Since I will never bow, they gon' aim to give legs in my head damage. I'ma live like Jesus till the day I die. I never bow, so you might as well take my life. In the presence of witnesses, grateful to witness this modern day ministry. Jesus versus nemesis, Peter versus crucifixion is the farther I get from evil, nearer the evil. I don't know about the method, but all I know they gon' kill me, I represent. These is parables telling you how it is. Sacrificing my every comfort to give. Malcolm Martin, Jesus was murdered for doing this. Live your life for others and giving up for the poor. Speaking for the voiceless and reconciling the wrong. Fight against the darkness and making sure it's exposed. They tell me to stop, never, my life was never my own.
I'm just trying to be a blessing, knowing I ain't gotta try to be when I'm honestly a reflection. Even I will lie to me if I'm honest about deception. Sin bring me novelty, the word brings me correction. Every rebuke ain't pleasant, every refute ain't flexing on the part of others. The mind of the Father is far above us, and we remain in this game though they try to shrug us. That's okay, I know what it would mean if the world would love us. And that woman from Proverbs 7 come try to cuff us. She went and poured myrrh and aloe upon her covers. It's through the snares of the flesh that death will try to touch us. Before I'm crushed by these puppets, I'ma preach to the gutters. Cause in this narcissistic world, I'ma serve my brothers. Complacency, blatantly attempting to try to drug us. All this truth in me, proof I'm ready for scrutiny. And every song I sing, I introduce thee to the God above us.
In the presence of witnesses, grateful to witness this modern day ministry. Jesus versus nemesis, Peter versus crucifixion is the farther I get from evil, nearer the evil come. I feel it, they plotting, they fear me, they blocking. I kill it, they copy, they just won't stop me young. I feel it, they plotting, they fear me, they blocking. I kill it, they copy, they just won't stop me young. I don't know about the method, but all I know they gon' kill me, I represent. These is parables telling you how it is. Sacrificing my every comfort to give. Malcolm Martin, Jesus was murdered for doing this. Live your life for others and giving up for the poor. Speaking for the voiceless and reconciling the wrong. Fight against the darkness and making sure it's exposed. They tell me to stop, never, my life was never my own.
You know what you're rocking to?
Rocking with the best.
Only the best. GCOM Radio.
Oh Jesus, Mary and Joseph, I cherish the moment. Verily, verily, bury me with reefer and roses. Yo, the 20s, this air is golden. Compare me to no one. My chair in midair, homes you barely quoted. That's apparently noted. Yo, I'm O'Shea made with boiled water. In other words, clearly I'm frozen, I pushed the limits. I was in the penalty box, it took a minute. My destiny's recipe cooked the spinach, yo, I'm true to myself, hell. Ain't no toddlers in the backseat. When I say it's 2 in the belt, chill still. I'm getting DMs from Stephanie Mills. Janet Jackley snapped me, no cap, G, it's that deep, I'm tax free. Addressing my soldiers like Addies, I'm flaxseed. The newest branch on the rap tree, don't ask me, I'm less involved. You make the list, I'ma check it off. String around the pole, it ain't tetherball. Damn, I ain't stuntin', y'all. Come on, fam. Shit crazy. Fuck out of here, nigga. Yeah, P. Immobilize, get the money, that's well known. Immobilize, get the money, that's well known. Immobilize, get the money, that's well known. Shit.
Immobilize, get the money, that's well known. Size. It's Flair. Hey yo, the God West craving the mic. Right. Jay is nice. I'm in the space like I'm in the best shape of my life. I play with white. Associate the weight with the price. I walk in a hostile situation, breaking the ice. I peep. We 330 degrees deep, seeking beef that we don't like. I'm Chief Keef with the street sweep. Up all night, who needs sleep when life's like a dream? Night Supreme, got Don freaks in the Jeep. Beat, me and the Don gifted. LeBron spirit in this game, man, I'm more of a Mac than John Mickens. Stop tripping. Got the pop bubbling, hot grits, but it's not for biscuits. It's niggas on the block that got shifts, clocks ticking. Yo, let the homies through. We in the VIP, the chosen few, but you ain't even sociable. You lost points choosing the phony crew. Use a disposable, can't blame nobody else. The proof is only you.
Immobilize, get the money, that's well known. Immobilize, get the money, that's well known. Immobilize, get the money, that's well known.
Come on, man. You know why niggas don't fuck with you, my nigga? Don't look in the mirror and stare at yourself, man. I better tear slowly form. We the coming down your bitch ass cheek, nigga. Word to Max, we the wavies. What that blunt
Man, yeah, we back for the very last segment. We are almost done, man, with this show, man. As always, I'm having fun. Sometimes I write notes. I write notes so I can make sure I don't miss any points that I want to make. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I trip over my words, and that's a natural thing. I know that's a natural thing, but I'm so self-critical of what I say, man. And I'm like, I don't like that. Man, when this show goes live, it's going to be terrible, man. I'm going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe I couldn't cut that out. So this pre-recorded thing is I could dig because I'm like, that don't sound good. But I know it's at some point GCOM Radio is going to go live. So I'm just going to have to go with my thought on whatever it is at the moment. And sometimes I may say things that could be like, oh my God, controversial. And I'll just have to deal with it. But yeah, I'm loving it so far. All right, so let's just continue. So we got... we're gonna go into with what was it? News you need to know. Oh my God, it temporarily slipped my mind. Let's get into news you need to know, and we'll go into the last segment of the show. All right, we'll be back.
Ladies and gentlemen, around the world and right in your neighborhood, it's the news you need to know.
The Biden administration contacts Ice Cube for contract for Black America. The Biden administration contacts Ice Cube to talk about its contract for Black America to review the anti-racism plan that was put forward in 2020. Ice Cube made this known on a radio show, Magic 107.5, 97.5, hosted by Ryan Cameron. Ice Cube states, quote, I would love to bring people in. I work with some great people, some great experts who know the root of the problem much better than me. I would love to bring in the specialists I have and the experts I have to see what we can do, unquote. The former NWA member and movie star looks forward to continuing the conversation later in the month. Regardless, Cube feels whether it's Republican or Democrats, the parties are still not looking at black folks' agenda in the right way. He's focused on them acknowledging and remedying the situation. Issa Rae shows her way of supporting black business. In an email interview with Bloomberg News, Issa Rae, star and creator of HBO's Insecure, shares her thoughts in how she will help to build black businesses online. With her new company, Hoorae, that's H-O-O-R-A-E Media, she will use her platform to build many businesses and collaborations. She will have a music label and audio company called Radio, R-A-E-D-O, that works with artists and songwriters, Color Creative, a management company boosting writers and other creatives' careers, and Hoorae Film and TV, a production company for her own productions. When asked about the changes in corporate America and Hollywood about increasing diversity and actual structural change, she sees Hollywood making moves to reflect the demands heard in the American populace, unlike corporate America. She continues to say, quote, "We're tired of empty promises, band-aid fixes, and dead-end diversity initiatives. We're holding Hollywood accountable for real change," unquote. In order for small businesses to stay committed to customers and holding to their core values, Issa answers that businesses must have a level of transparency and making their customers feel like they're being considered in the evolution of their business. And that is the news you need to know. All right, so we're back now. All right. What did I have for this last segment? It's an important thing because I just saw this. Music, man. Music that I love so. So in this last segment, man, I like to say a special shout out to Ace Hood. And I had this segment sitting here for a while. And I wrote it in December, and then I didn't get to it. I'm getting to it now. So it makes it be a little dated. But this is one of the topics that I wanted to discuss with you guys. And I'd like to give a special shout out to Ace Hood because I thought it was real dope at the time for Ace Hood's wife to give him his own custom plaques. And it happened around Christmas time. And he's always been independent. I think he was a part of Maybach Music, I think it was. Or was it, what's the other guy's name? DJ Khaled. Was it? I forget. But he went indie and he's doing things his way. And I thought it was dope for his wife to give him his own plaques because as an indie artist, you do not get plaques from Spotify or anyone saying you reached 1 million. And she gave him plaques that he made 100 million on Trust the Process, or 100 million streams, I believe, on Trust the Process, and 7-8 million at the time for Undefeated. My man was very, very emotional about receiving those plaques when he opened up his gifts. I thought that was dope. And I always support indie artists. And it made me say, I'm like, man, we don't give flowers to the people that do it on the indie level. And there's no medium that does give flowers to the indie artists, the people that are not attached to the, the age-old gargantuan music labels. I don't even know. There's probably like 2 left, as far as labels are concerned. And then the music streaming sites, even though I'm not a big music streaming fan, but they still do it nonetheless, because that's just how we do things in music now. And I wanted to think about, damn, all the music that came out. And I'm like, I actually looked for artists and I looked for an article on like the music that came out recently, and I was surprised. There was a lot of music that came out, and I guess this is the new thing with media. If you don't follow people, you'll never know what music they drop. But the new thing is now, of course, you create an IG account, you follow them, and then you'll know all the music that they'll ever put out. It's like Goody Mob, they came out with an album, and this is all in November because I found Goody Mob came out with an album in November. Salam Remy, Black on Purpose, came out with an album. Young Boy Never Broken Again in November. Future and Lil Uzi Vert, they came out with a mixtape and a full-length album. I'm like, damn. I don't follow Future or Lil Uzi Vert. I'm sorry, my bad. A$AP Rocky, 2 Chainz, Rich the Kid, Black Youngster, St. John. I bought that album. I really like what St. John brings. Megan Thee Stallion, she dropped her album, of course. I had Megan Thee Stallion sometimes is iffy with me. I don't know, man. But I'm not going to get into it. Jeezy dropped the joint, French Montana, The Baby, Meek Mill, Rich the Kid, Juicy J, Busta Rhymes. I got that joint, of course, because I've been listening to Busta Rhymes for years. So I had to get that ELE 2 album. Jim Jones, like, all these people dropped albums in November, man. I didn't even get to December. But it goes to show how much music is out there, even from the veterans, that we got to support. I don't think it's enough to just do music streaming. I don't ever think it's enough. And I say if we could give our money to Netflix and to Disney and to Amazon Prime and all these other movie apps, and we're paying like $8, and if you combine all of these apps, we're paying like over $100. And I think we could find a way to support the artists, even in a small way. If it's like $3 a month or something like that, we can do that. $2, imagine that. Imagine if you got even just 150,000 people to buy your joint for $3 a month. I'm like, yo, why wouldn't you do that? You know what I mean? I mean, it's better than music streaming when you do the math, right? And I've always said on the show. And it brought me into this other thing that I saw on IG there. I saw Styles P. Styles P came out with a video post on IG, as I said, when he was talking about his royalties and he had issues with Sony. And of course he threw Puff in there, but he said a couple times it has nothing, you don't have no issues with Puff, but more so the business of music and how it's trying to short him and Locks, right? So he says in his whole conversation, in all of his 20 years of his recording music, he only walks away with $25,000 a year from the publishing that he's getting from his music. $25,000 a year, and he's going to Sony. And it's funny that Sony, their response was, and it's funny, this is the thing, Styles P as an artist can only collect 6 years of back royalties from his music, even though he's been in the game for 20 years recording not just his solo albums, but all the guest features, everything. He can only get 6 years backlog. That's crazy. That is crazy. And he went on to say it's just not just music, but also, there's no health plan for artists. And he said it wasn't for the other businesses that he got into as far as his juicing. And I've been to a couple of the stores. I've been to the one in Brooklyn. I've been to the one in the Bronx, supporting them. Now, if it wasn't for that and his other ventures, he would, man, I don't know what I was going to do. Because obviously the music's not paying. Now, it's funny is Sony's taking this stance. Sony's taking the stance where they're cheating the artists. Now, I don't know how much he is truly making, because the way you get your publishing is by when they play it on the radio, when live performances, of course, music streaming, of course, the newfangled thing, and all the other places where they record, or if it's being used in a movie, then your publishing, whether it's BMI, ASCAP, or CSAC, will collect the royalties and then go down the channel before it gets to the artist. You know where it goes. I don't know how much of his music is being played. So is 25,000 correct based on where this song is being played? But how can you actually get a real understanding of how much music is your music getting played? How much spins or replays your music is getting played globally? Of course, that's the job of ASCAP and CSAC and all these things. But truly, and he's only making he's making a little bit less than 25,000 a year. That's crazy. Now, I don't even pay attention to as much, even though I just told you guys I love music, right? There's so much I don't even pay attention to as much music as I do. Not, I guess, as far as the love is concerned, because the priority shift, because you love the music in itself, the art form, when you're in your younger years, and it starts to slowly shift into the business portion. So as far as the money and the royalties that you're getting and all these other revenue streams you're getting from your music, and I'm concerned with the artists that are getting paid young and old. So as much as I do love the music, I am at a point where I pay attention to the business more than I do to the music. I'll listen to the music and I'm like, oh, that's dope. Okay, cool. But I'll quickly move over into the business side. So as much as I love the video, I'm like, oh, that's artistic. How's the business, young and old? How is the business going? Are people getting their checks cut? And it's not just the young rappers getting caught up, it's the OGs. Sorry, My bad. My headphones came out. Yeah, it's the OGs that are getting shorted. And as I said, my Styles P even mentioned, even is a healthcare plan. Nothing to support artists. Nothing. And I always said, music artists are blue-collar workers. Not everybody is going to be Kanye and Taylor Swift making millions and millions and millions. And even they have the moment where they're going to be making their millions, and then that's going to disappear, and then there's a fan's going to be off to something else. And they won't make as much money as they did as when they were at the height of their career. It happens to everybody. So eventually the money dries up in certain areas, but they can make money other places. But most music artists are blue collar. And I feel that the only way that we're going to change things for Ace Hood and change things for Styles P, if the people that participate in the music make the moves to make sure that they are in a good space musically and business-wise. And I know you heard this before. To all the people, veterans, that's listening to me right now, to make sure that the artists, young and old, are in a good space when it comes to the music, when it comes to the culture. And the people that they're going to have to make the change will be the people that come from the music and the culture. And what I've noticed is all the OGs has been in the music since I've been listening in the late 80s, 90s. The people that are rightfully so are the music executives of today are repeating the same business model that's been in the music business since its inception. And it seems like they're just going with the wave. And it seems like almost like they've been programmed from doing the music business in a certain way, where now that music streaming is a new way you're supposed to, quote unquote, make money, that they're even co-signing that. And these people are not idiots. These people are in their 50s. They're gray haired. Their kids are grown up to the point where they're in college. They've been doing this music long enough. You think they would say, wait a second. Let's do something else. And it hurts me that they're not. I'm talking about all the OGs, not that they were artists from the beginning, where they were the executives at the time in the early 90s, late 80s, and where they are with it today. I'm like, why are they co-signing music streaming and all these other things like this is the next wave? I know they're doing the numbers because I see there's a multitude of different, and I was supposed to have this conversation. I'm gonna be honest. I was supposed to have this conversation with my guy from Label Logic, Jay Gilbert, and he sent me some stuff. And there's gonna be a part 2 because again, I'm always having this battle, this struggle with music streaming, and I want to see where it works. And Jay Gilbert stands by that music streaming works. It's just the devil's is in the details. It's the contracts that these artists sign, so they can't get money from music streaming. And I will have them on a later show. But for right now, it just hurts me to say that these artists and these executives are still doing the same thing, where you have cats like Styles P complaining and talking about this on IG and getting genuinely frustrated with how the money streams are drying up for the music. And it's just not in hip hop, it's in rock music, it's in all the other genres that we just come to accept how things are. I guess that's what it is, music streaming, and then that's it. I feel that people need to step out of the music for a second. I'm not saying leave, I'm not saying be a movie actor, I'm not saying go into movie editing or some other side hustle. You want to make a sneaker, you want to make a t-shirt, you want to start a clothing line, you want to get into investment. I'm not saying that leave, but I'm saying start to review the things that we are currently doing music the art form that made us happy when we were in our 20s and our teens, that we were so passionate about. Hopefully we could take the smarts that we've learned over the decades and create something that's beneficial, that helps out the blue collar music artists from across genres. If you help them, you help yourself. And it upsets me that we're still doing the same thing. Nobody's getting together, these executives, and saying, okay, let's just create a whole new. Nothing is stopping you from creating a new set of rules on a whole other platform. And if music streaming wants to go, fine, you want to do that, whatever, music streaming, whatever. But what we need to do is say, hey, folks, this is the way we're doing it. And talk to the fans and say, no, this is not working. I'm asking my fans to support me. You want to hear more music of mine? Support me here. And maybe we could set off something totally different that works for the artist. Because I believe in what Styles P is saying, that there should be a healthcare program for artists. Why not? Why shouldn't there be? Most artists, as I said, are not mega artists that's traveling the world 20 times over. That's a small, you could count on your hand the people that still make money off the music well into their older years, in their 60s and their 70s. Most people don't, man. So we got to start rethinking. Now, hopefully, again, a shameless plug, hopefully Lyfeblood can play a part in that. And there's a lot of things that we have on the table that I'm hoping and I'm looking forward to doing in 2021 and 2022, where we start shifting the way we do things. And I can sit down with some of these other folks and start mapping this stuff out, because we have to change the way we're doing it, because it's not working financially. And when I see these artists, with the pomp and with the ego, and and they want to wear the diamonds, and they want to dress fly and Gucci and all this other stuff, but I know the numbers. I'm like, no, I know you're not doing that. I know you're not making numbers like that. You're just fronting for somebody. Don't front for me. I know the money you're making off strictly the music. I know the money you're making. And you're doing the same stupid mistakes that artists did back in the early 90s, 80s, 70s, whatever. Anyway, so check this out, guys. Thank you for listening to me. I'm finished. I'm done. Flapping my gums and talking to you guys for this show. I so appreciate you guys listening to me on my 100th show and being a part of this. I so appreciate all the artists that have submitted their music over the times. I'll say it again. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I look forward to working with you guys in the future, and where you guys can play a part of Music Life of Lyfeblood.com. And being a part of this community. I look forward to meeting new people, expanding my audience on GCOM Radio for Lyfeblood.com, because this is just not about music. It's just not about, exchanging dollars. This is, I always say, it's about self-actualization, empowering yourself, your community, your people. And we have to start listening to what is happening around us and seeing that everything is becoming more democratized for the masses. Our economy is becoming decentralized, understanding the attention is being paid to Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency, and we have to start paying attention to how this will negatively affect us in the future as far as the technology is concerned, and not treating the technology as an enemy, but really recognizing how it's affecting us and how we need to adjust and adapt to what our world is going to be like tomorrow, in the next 10 years and 20 years and 30 years, what's going to look like for our children and our children's children. So we have to start preparing for that now. So thank you guys for listening to the show. I'm looking forward to making more shows, and big ups to everybody, man. I want to give a hand clap to everybody that's right here with me listening to this show right now. So thank you so much, guys. I'll see you guys next week, and I'm looking forward to making another 100 shows for you. All right, so I'm out of here. Peace and hair grease, and keep hope alive. All right, peace.
job.
Check it.
You just listened to GCOM Radio, powered by Lyfeblood.com. For the global community.
We worldwide, baby.
See you in the next go-round. From right here to your town. We out.